Supposed to be a fun night, right? Mr. Kniff, are we good to go back there with sound check?
All good.
All right. Got a couple minutes here. If clock reads 5:28, got another minute or so to go. Do we have all 12 of the young men? How about we ask you guys, when I call time, I'll ask you guys to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Is that good? All right. One more minute. Warm up those vocal cords.
Could hear a pin drop.
Huh?
Teachers can't get the classes quiet.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Good evening. It's now 5:30. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Young men, please lead us in the pledge. Go ahead.
I
Pledge
pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
Mr. Cabrera.
I am here in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice here in the bulletin board at Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing the same to the Herald of Cape May County and the Press of Atlantic City on October 13th, 2021. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is going to be the door that you came in or the door directly to my right or your left. If I could ask everyone to please silence your cell phones at this time so we don't have any interruptions. A couple quick announcements. We are showing this meeting live on YouTube and also on the Wildwood Crest Facebook page. If anybody here in the room would like to make a comment during the public comment section, I would like for you to give us your name and your address for the record. Anybody that's going to be calling in on the conference line and wants to make a statement or ask a question, I'm going to ask you to do the same. We're going to start with the folks that are in the room first, and then we'll go to the conference line. If you're watching the recorded version of this meeting at a later date, and you have questions and you're not able to make it here this evening, you're welcome to email our clerk at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org or phone her at 609-729-8040. Madam Clerk, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. All right, there we go. We're good to go. All right, first thing on the agenda for this evening is a presentation for the Greater Wildwood 11 and under baseball team. And I just want to start by, first of all, congratulating every one of you personally as a former coach of, let's see, maybe 2 or 3 different Little League teams and a coach of many All-Star teams over the years. We were never able to get that far. In fact, I think we might have lost pretty much in the first and second round almost every time. Maybe it was the coaching, I don't know. But the coaches obviously did a great job getting you all to the championship. My understanding is that you gentlemen lost the first 2 games and you trailed Stafford Township 8-3. And then in the third game, you rallied back for an 11-9 win, and then on to win the final 2 games over Linwood to win the championship. Is that right? All right. And as far as we can understand, you are the first district championship champion baseball team from Greater Wildwood in nearly 20 years. And before I get into some of the details, I know that if you've been past the Higbee Field, so the borough has invested some dollars into cleaning it up after a storm. So you probably saw, the Little League's, home field. There used to be, and I'm sure there still is, and there's going to be, there were some championship signs up over the years for many years of all the teams that have, all the All-Star teams that have won championships and represented Greater Wildwood. And I would anticipate that the Little League, Brian Kniff, is going to eventually erect a sign with all your names on there so that hopefully, when you come back as young adults and so forth, your name will be there at the field, just like everybody else's. So give us some time. We just finished those renovations here right before the season started. We were rushing to get it done. So Section 4, I understand you had third place. You lost to East Vineland. You beat Swedesboro / Woolwich. Then you beat Waterford, and then you lost to East Vineland again. East Vineland was always tough. And then they went on to win the championship. So congratulations. We're here to recognize and honor you all and the coaches here tonight. And the parents, you know, it goes without saying, they wouldn't be here if it weren't for the parents, so we certainly honor all of you as well. I'm going to call your names. I'm going to ask Commissioner Franco and Commissioner Schiff to come down. And when they call your name, they're going to hand out 6 plaques to each one of the 6 different plaques and 6 different plaques. And then we'll come down for a group photo if anybody wants to see your governing body with your baseball players and your coaches as well. All right, we ready? All right, first one on the list, Adrian Augsburger. Adrian, we're just going to have you stand right here by Commissioner Franco. The next one, we're going to alternate. Mr. Schiff will give out the next one. Anybody on the conference line, if you don't mind muting out, that'd be great.
That was you.
All right, next on the list, Will Aldy. All right, next on the list, also a Crest resident, Owen Bannon. Next on the list, Brandon Brown. Next up, Sean Caniff, also a Crest resident. Another Crest resident, Crew Fusilero. Carter Givner, another Crest resident. Matthew Mayer, also a Crest resident. A lot of Crest folks in here. Next up, Joey Martin. Next up, Drew Robinson. By the way, those are nice shirts. I got to tell you, they didn't have that back when I was coaching.
They probably didn't have shirts.
Yeah, no. They had the same ones. They stored them in the snack bar and brought them out. All right. Next on the list, Crest resident Michael Sciarra. And last but not least, also a Crest resident, Gabe Volpe. All right, want to acknowledge and commend the coaches, head coach Dave Bannon. Come on up, Dave. Dave here? There he is. Bill Audie. I want to know what a great swimmer knows about baseball. That's what I want to know. Dan Martin. Coach Dan Martin. Dan here? Not here tonight? All right. And fourth coach, Tori Volpe. All right. Coaches, you have anything you want to add for this evening? Head coach, Mr. Bannon?
I would like to thank Crest for all your participation in helping with the field. You looked great this year. The snack bar was great, and thanks for having us tonight. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anybody else, coaches?
Yeah, no, it was a great run. I think you touched on it, just the fact that it wasn't a team that didn't quit. You know, we were down. You know, we had no business really coming back. I felt confident, but 10, 11-year-olds, you wonder if they're going to feel that. So I think what I'm most impressed about is just the fight and continue to play against all odds. So that was really impressive for me.
Good
Thank you
stuff.
for having us.
Greater Wildwood Baseball is back. Commissioner Franco, Commissioner Schiff, anything?
Congratulations, fellas.
Yeah,
Well
great
earned.
job. I like the shirts.
All right, we're going to come down for a photo and I can stay. If you guys don't mind, I'll just stay back here if that's all right.
That TV might move back if you want to push it.
A couple of you,
Push it
couple
right
of you
back.
guys should come down
Yep, and then push
and
it back.
kneel in front of that.
Yeah. Is that better? Yep.
I'm going to strike my pose.
Oh, slide over so that this thing can be read. Showing, slide over to this way. Hold that sign up a little bit. There you go. Don't cover Brandon's face.
As long as we need that all year.
Yes. Hold on a minute, go back a step.
Yeah, hold on one
Joe,
second.
you want to go up there?
My father just said that to me.
Great. Mike, right? Everybody smile.
All right, right here first, then let all the parents take pictures, okay? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Right, you'll see.
Anybody else? One more. All right, that wraps it up. Congratulations. Good job. Good job, Bill. I'll see you on draft night. I'll see you on draft night. Third night in a row. Yeah.
That's the good stuff.
That's what it's all about right there.
We're gonna just keep going down the reports, right?
Yeah, we'll get these guys in and out of here.
Nice picture outside would be great.
Okay, moving right along. We're going to move right into the public safety reports. We're going to start with Captain D'Amico.
Thanks, sir.
Hold on one second.
Hold on one second. All right.
All right.
You have our undivided attention, sir.
Very good, sir. Thank you. I'll start off just with some highlights from July's report to the Commissioner of Public Safety. For the month of July, we handled the Wildwood Crest Police Department, handled a total call for service volume of 3,824 calls for an average of 123 calls per day. The department handled a total of 753 criminal investigations and 560 service-related calls. We certainly understand that this time of year, traffic volume increases quite tremendously. So we did see an increase in our traffic-related calls for service. We handled 1,649 traffic-related incidents or calls for service. That included 833 motor vehicle stops, which nearly doubled from the previous month. So again, we're seeing an increased volume within the town, and certainly with traffic, so we're seeing an increase in the number of motor vehicle stops. We also issued a total of 802 parking summonses, and about 200 warnings were issued. So those are vehicles where the owner was located and the vehicle was able to be moved before any citations were issued. A large chunk of that 802 parking summonses is a lot of our meter enforcement through our Class 1 officers. But then there's a good number of yellow zones and block driveways and things of that nature that are encompassed in there. So the officers are out there certainly addressing some of those parking issues. In coordination with that, on top of the motor vehicle stops, the officers are also proactively going out and trying to address some of these problem areas or areas where residents might have some concerns that have called in and relayed some of their concerns. So there were 216 traffic or radar enforcement calls for service during the month of July as well. Training does not stop for us in the summertime either. So we handled 239 hours of training. We're actually in the process right now of working with Beach Patrol to recertify all the officers in CPR. So again, training, even in the summer months, doesn't slow down. We're keeping up with that. I believe last month during the chief's report, he brought up that we were looking to address some pedestrian crossing concerns and a few other traffic-related violations and some issues that were creeping up during the summer with some plainclothes details as a way to send officers out to either act as decoys or just to get an extra set of eyes and see exactly what the public is seeing in some of those problem areas that were reported. We did put out some information on that as well, and in conjunction with the chief bringing that up in the commissioners meeting, I'm happy to report that actually when the officers went out there, we saw very few violations. So I think that informational campaign was pretty successful, and hopefully that continues on as we go through the summer. Right now, we are also working on an additional information campaign on the low-speed vehicles. That is something that we've certainly seen more prevalent usage-wise throughout the town, especially this summer. We have some information that we've pressed out on our website and also through Facebook, just talking about the safety concerns with those, making sure that people are using their seatbelts. They should be equipped with seatbelts. The biggest one for us too is child restraints. So any child that would normally be in a restrained car seat, a booster seat or anything along those lines, if they're in a regular vehicle, they should be restrained the same way in a low-speed vehicle. So they should have their booster seat or whatever it may be with them in those vehicles. So you will see officers out there and addressing those and bringing attention to that out on the streets. We're coming up on the shoulder season, and certainly September is very busy for the town and for the police department as well. We have Labor Day coming up, so we will have extra staff on. Traditionally we have our DUI patrols out there and some extra officers just to handle the increase as we hit the last part of the summer. The weekends certainly don't slow down after that. We will be assisting the city of Wildwood and also making preparations in our own town, because even though the Road to the Shore has been canceled, unfortunately we do have some outlaw motorcycle gangs that still will be coming and visiting the city of Wildwood. So we certainly take preparations for that with our city, and then also assisting Wildwood as they prepare for their visit to town. That's followed by Firefighters Weekend, so we would remind people to expect some detours and delays as we prepare for the Fireman's Parade on that Saturday. Seafarers Weekend certainly comes after that. Again, we'll have some traffic detours and some delays around Sunset Lake, so we'd like to bring that attention to everybody so they're aware of that. And we finish out our season with the Crest Best Run Fest, which is certainly a big event for us. We've already started our planning meetings with some of the other departments within the town, within the borough, Public Works, Public Recreation, and then the surrounding police departments to start planning for that. Also wanted to point out some of the outreach efforts that we've been working on and some things that are coming up. We just got done an outreach effort where we did good behavior citations, which was pretty popular, and I was very impressed, and I believe we got some pretty good feedback with this, where the officers went out and actually issued reward citations to kids that were following safety rules or just being good citizens. And they did that in conjunction with the Lunch for Lynch Foundation and with the help from some local businesses, and they were able to actually reward the kids with free ice cream. Cone Crazy was one of the businesses that helped us out with that. And then also the Naval Air Station gave out free passes that the officers were able to reward the kids when they saw them doing something good or following some of the some good safety rules. So we definitely got some good feedback with that, and that was a fun thing that the officers got to go out and do. For Seafarers, we will also be having a Coffee with a Cop event during the Seafarers. So we certainly encourage people to stop by and visit the officers at the tent that they'll have set up there. They'll have an ear that they can listen to anything that you'd like to share with them. So we certainly welcome you to visit us there. October, we'll roll into our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and November is No Shave November, which Traditionally, we go and find a family that's in need for that month, and we push our resources that way to help them. So some things we have coming up with our outreach. And lastly, I'd just like to express on behalf of the chief and the department all the support that we've been getting for the different associations that we started up this year, whether it be the Police Officer Association or the Canine Association. We certainly be receiving a great deal of support for those, and we certainly appreciate everyone that has supported those groups, and we're confident that they're going to be a pretty good asset to bring in some valuable services and certainly some support for the department and our community. So Commissioners, that's my report.
Okay. Everybody, any questions for Captain?
Thank you.
Rob? Thank you. Okay, let's go with Chief Harwood.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening. The month of reported fire to the public safety. For the month of July, the fire department responded to 45 incidents, 1 fire, 2 rescue EMS assist or elevator entrapments. We had 8 hazardous conditions, 6 service calls, 7 good attend calls, 21 false alarms, total 45 incidents. We had an average of 15 members per turnout per call. We had a total of 3 mutual aid calls, 2 to the city Wild, 1 to the North Wild for structure fires on the fire department report. Moving into the EMS for the month, EMS responded to a total of 186 calls. 83 were patients treated and transported to the hospital. We had 42 refusals of care, 13 canceled by dispatch, 48 public assist and fire standbys. We received 6 mutual aids from Wildwood. We had none from North Wildwood and 0 from Lower Township. Mutual aid given, we gave 1 to the city of North Wildwood, 18 to Wildwood, and 8 to Lower Township, for a total of 186 calls. The Fire Prevention Inspection Bureau, for the month of July, we did 240 inspections, excuse me, 108 re-inspections. We inspected 9 life hazards. We inspected 10 re-inspections for life hazards. We had 7 complaints for a total of 374. Notice of violation set out for the month were 194. For certificates of inspections were 244. And we did 5 smoke detection search for sale of property. Under the housing department, 5-year housing inspection, we inspected 116 units and 2 re-inspections for the month of July. On the emergency management end, there was nothing this month of July. We're starting up because it's hurricane season's kicking in. As you notice, we're getting some flooding out in other states, so we got some classes coming up on that. And that's my report. Any questions?
As the months go by, your reports are getting shorter.
I can make them long.
You're making them much more.
Tailor them down a little
All
bit.
right. I like that. Thank you, sir. All right. Last but not least, Lieutenant Frederick from the Beach Patrol.
Good afternoon. This is posted immediate release for Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol announces late season lifeguard coverages. Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol has announced its late season beach coverage for 2022. All beaches will be open and protected by lifeguards, weather permitting, from 10 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. through Monday, August 5th, Labor Day, and on weekend following Labor Day, Saturday and Sunday, September 10th and 11th. Due to limited available staff, 7 beaches will be protected by lifeguards from Tuesday, September 6th through Friday, September 9th. Those beaches will include Buttercup Lavender, Sweetbriar Wisteria, Palm Lotus, Stockton Stanton, Miami, Monterey, Preston Hollywood, Trenton, Newark. Full lifeguard coverage for the 2022 season will conclude on Sunday, September 11. A response team will be available for emergency calls 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends September 17, 18, and September 24, 25. Transport services for handicap will be available 11 through 4 daily through Sunday, September 11. The Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol strongly advises all bathers to swim at protected beaches and only during the hours of operation. For further information, call the Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol at 609-522-3825. And if I may, an addendum to the Commissioner's report posted today, 8/24, for this meeting. It's the results of the annual Island Row in North Wildwood. Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol entered 3 boats. There was 15 total entered. We had 3 crews. Terry McGovern got second with Pat Bakey. 4th was Ron Ayers with John Steiger. And 11th was Justin Farraco with partner Jackson Preston. This race concludes the competition season for lifeguard racing for 2022. It was another safe and successful season for Wildwood Crest Beach Patrol and all of the South Jersey beaches.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to just chime in a little bit. I received an email from the mayor from a community member that stated that they witnessed one of our rescues, and they said how flawless it was and how they were watching like a work of art type thing where everybody knew what to do, it was coordinated. And that comes from the top right down to the bottom, and we do appreciate all that extra work and the things that we all do.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That's good stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, before we excuse anyone from the Public Safety Department gave a report, does anybody have any questions or comments for anybody? Public? None? All right, we're going to move on to the ordinances. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. The first is ordinance 1385, an ordinance to amend section 59-3 of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, known as the Salary Ordinance, fixing and determining salaries and compensations of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, and providing for the raising of the amounts thereof by taxation, and for the time and method of payment.
Motion that ordinance number 1385 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for a second and final reading and public hearing on September 7th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m.
Motion.
I need a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1385 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on September 7th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is ordinance 1386, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 32A, entitled Fees, Section 32A-5, Fees, Emergency Medical Transport Services and Charges of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest to amend fees for transport services.
Motion that ordinance number 1386 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for a second and final reading and public hearing on September 7th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1386 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on September 7th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay, next we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing compliance with the annual audit requirements and directing members of the governing body to execute the group affidavit in accordance therewith.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is supporting the Wildwood Crest Green Team.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is revising the authorization for participation in alternate route appointments for police officers.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing contracts with certain approved state and national contract vendors for calendar year 2022.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is supporting Assembly Concurrent Resolution Number 31, increasing the property tax deduction for veterans to $1,000 and base future deductions on annual consumer price index increases.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing the appointment of Constance A. Mann as the Borough of Wildwood Crest representative to the Cape May County Animal Shelter Advisory Board.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing release of escrow funds for permit number SO21-0602 in the amount of $727.50.
Motion that?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff. Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
The next two are authorizing refunds for Peer Playmate camp fees. The first is for $340 for 2022, and the second is for $300 for 2022.
Motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolutions be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a contract with Greater Wildwood Tourism and Improvement Development Authority for municipal event support.
Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a fireworks display at Seafair Celebration on Saturday, September 24th, 2022.
Motion?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing Borough Engineer work order for Public Works Building roof replacement at the not-to-exceed sum of $27,000.
Motion?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is approving and adopting a memorandum of understanding for interlocal cooperation for certified municipal finance officer between the Borough of Wildwood Crest and the Township of Middle.
Motion that?
I will second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing Borough Engineer work order for the Crest Arts Pavilion underground storage tank at the not-to-exceed sum of $28,500.
Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr.
Excuse me.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
There can't be two of them.
Mr. Schiff.
Motion that all reports received from Court Administrator, Chief Financial Officer, Tax Collector, Chief of Police, Supervisor for Recreation Department, Construction Official, Emergency Services Coordinator for the EMS and Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company Chief for the month ending July 31st, 2022 be accepted as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that all reports received from the Court Administrator, Chief Financial Officer, Tax Collector, Chief of Police, Supervisor for the Recreation Department, Construction Official, Emergency Services Coordinator for the EMS, and the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company Chief for the month ending July 31, 2022 be accepted as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all minutes from the regularly scheduled commission meeting dated July 20th, 2022 and August 3rd, 2022 be approved as presented.
Second that?
It's been moved and seconded that all minutes from the regularly scheduled commission meetings dated July 20th and August 3rd, 2022 be approved as presented. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thank you, Trish.
Of course.
Okay, that brings us to number 11 on the agenda, the Administrator's Report.
Sir, on ongoing and upcoming projects, our beach and bump outs. Our engineers should be ready to go out to bid, get the bid packages ready shortly for the 11 remaining beach bump outs south of Rambler. The only holdup right now is the water service. So we're working on that, and as soon as we have that resolved, we'll be getting out to bid. We did receive $2.5 million in open spaces grant money for this purpose. The Crest Arts Pavilion. As this project moves closer to completion, there are two significant installations that are expected in the next week or two. The nano door on the east rear portion of the building has been delayed. That is being manufactured and should be in shortly, as well as the electrical panel. There is a nationwide shortage of electrical panels at this time. We are expecting that within the next week or two. According to the contractor, those are the only two items, main items remaining. Once they're done, we have about 2 weeks of work left in the building to get us to completion. Once that is finished, we can do a walkthrough with any interested parties that might want to lease the cafe or the rental space. And we'll have some of the furnishings in there so that it'll be ready for them to look at. An application is currently before the Cape May County Open Spaces Board to provide funding for the exterior site improvements, which is phase 2. We've been informed that the board will approve funding after we clarify some issues. We did get back to them on the issues they presented, and we are currently awaiting word on the amount of money we will be awarded. Those improvements include parking improvements, botanical gardens, signage, art, a bike repair station, and some more outdoor furnishings. The remediation of groundwater will occur just after Labor Day on this project. Mark de Blasio's office is handling that. We just did a resolution approving that. And he will be, he has a licensed state remediation expert under his employee for that. Pacific Avenue, phase 2 of this county road reconstruction is expected to commence after Labor Day in the southernmost portion of our town. We will provide updates to the public as we receive them from the county engineer's office, and I will keep everyone up to date as much as possible. Hereford Inlet to Cape May Inlet Beach and Dune construction. Each week I speak with Coastal Engineering to get updated on this federal and state funded project. They continue to report that Wildwood and Lower Townships are still negotiating their state aid agreements. New Jersey Avenue, there will be a public hearing held on the redevelopment zone at the Planning Board's September 7th meetings. We encourage everyone to attend and hear what they have to say about the redevelopment zone. Sunset Lake and State Channel dredging. We continue to work with the NJDOT, Office of Maritime Resources, and the Department of Environmental Protection's Sediment and Dredging Technology Group and our dredging committee to have the state channel dredged. We've also requested that they realign the channel and perhaps partner with us to ensure that we can dredge more of the lake area. Meetings have been held with all agencies and the project planning is progressing. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 1st with the dredge committee, with a follow-up meeting with NJDOT for administrators and mayors on September 13th. CAFRA applications. We just received word, unfortunately, that our permit application for the previously installed storage area adjacent to the Beach Patrol building has been denied. We are still awaiting word on our request for an administrative review for the Beach Patrol headquarters renovation. We expect to file another permit application shortly, which includes the following items: the dune and beach maintenance activities, the bike path improvements north of Rambler, the widening of pedestrian accesses through the dunes north of Rambler, the old library site improvements, which include expanded parking, and the water main looping. Washington Avenue brick planning study. We were recently awarded a brick grant from FEMA, which will fund a study of the Washington Avenue flooding issues. This grant will amount to FEMA's contribution of $70,875, along with the borough's match of about $23,000, and that is for a study. The EV charging stations. We have great news to report. The borough received word that we received approvals from Atlantic City Electric and the New Jersey BPU on our EV charging station grants. The NJ BPU, Board of Public Utilities, has approved 7 level 2 chargers for 6301 Ocean, 4 fast chargers for 8800 New Jersey Avenue, and 5800 Ocean Avenue, and $4,000 incentive grants for 2 Chevy Bolts if we wish to purchase them. The level 2 grants provide up to $7,000 per charger, and the DCFC grant provides $75,000 per charger. They're the fast chargers. I am working with our grant writer to provide a cost proposal to you that will show the total cost that we've received in grants and what the total project would cost for your consideration. That's forthcoming. Thank you.
All right. Gary, any questions for Connie before I ask away?
Thank you.
You're none? All right, couple questions on, first starting with the first one on beach bump outs. Anticipated timeframe on being ready to go out to bid, so we can perhaps start this
Yeah.
project in the fall?
I would
Not to put you on the spot, but I will anyway.
I would say October. We have to work through a Wildwood water utility issue.
And we had a meeting scheduled, but it's been postponed, so we were hoping to have it for this meeting.
Okay. Second question, on the Crest Arts Pavilion, 2020, so we did not get any bidders on the 2 leased areas, and the last I was aware there was a suggestion to, when the building is pretty much complete, is to have what I'll call an open house, for lack of a better term, to allow potential bidders to come in and see the finished product. Do you think we're on track for the end of September?
Yes, at this point we are. And I will have an update for you next week after our Thursday walkthrough.
All right, third question, BRICK, also known as BRIC, what does that stand for?
Building Resilient Infrastructure Communities.
All right, I'm just testing everybody, make sure everybody.
The solicitor looked at me, so I know I was in trouble.
Google.
All right, and the last thing, on the EV charging station, so is it okay with the governing body, and Mark, I'm sure you're, I know we're referencing these areas for grants and or the EV charging stations, but I'm trying to visualize where they're gonna be. I think electric is on its way. I don't think there's any municipality, as far as I know, on this island that has a charging station that I'm aware of. There's some private businesses, but I think it's important to let the public know.
Avalon has a charging station.
Yeah,
Avalon, so does Stoke
I think it's
Carmel.
important to let the public know, because I do see a lot more electric vehicles around, in the Crest. Vacationers, owners, residents, taxpayers all have it, and I think it'd be nice to let them know, where we're planning on putting them as a result of some of the grants. So I don't know if you can plot those out, and maybe we can upload that.
When we applied, we did have to put the exact locations for these particular grants that we received, so I'll map it out for you with that.
Okay, that's all I had on the administrator's report, just to make sure.
I have one question about the charging stations now that they're being brought up is, are we reimbursed as a community for the usage of the power that's there?
No.
Or how, is there?
No, what you do is you purchase the charging stations, and software is installed into them. So the person uses their credit card through an app, just like you would use Park Mobile. And
Okay,
then
so
we
they
pay for the electric, they pay us, so there's money, there's obviously, Francine will be an outflow, she'll be paying the electric bills, but we will be receiving a check monthly from that software provider that will in turn offset the cost of the electric, and we mark it up. We get to decide what we want to charge. Obviously, you wouldn't want to, go too crazy, but we get to decide the rate per kilowatt.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. de Blasio, engineer's report.
Okay, just a couple items to add to Connie's report. We are finalizing the bid documents for the reconstruction of Syracuse Avenue, and we'll be requesting a resolution to bid this project at the next commissioners meeting. That project is scheduled to start construction this fall and be complete before next summer season. In a similar vein, we're finalizing the plans for the reconstruction of Cardinal Avenue, which will help address the sewer issue out here. And we'll be presenting a change order again at the next meeting to the commissioners for the Pacific Avenue, also known as the ongoing Pacific Avenue project change order. Once you guys approve that, that will also start in the fall and be wrapped up before spring of next year. We continue to work on the following capital projects. Connie mentioned some of them. The beach bump outs phase 2 with the Wildwood water utility issue needing to be resolved. The beach CAFRA, or the next generation of the beach CAFRA permit, which includes the beach backpassing, the beach lifeguard building renovations, the Von Savage pool roof and repairs, and lastly, the NJDEP I-Bank sanitary sewer and roadway application. I'll be meeting with Joe hopefully next week to wrap up the selection of the streets and then present them to the commissioners. Lastly, the Sunset Lake survey and dredging report is scheduled to start in September of this year. Once the boating activity decreases, we will start our survey and get on it. That's my report.
Okay, governing body, any questions?
I have just a quick question on the last one, Mark. How long does that survey take to do from
I'm gonna
start?
say start to finish. It's probably gonna take about 2 weeks. I think there's tide cycles and things of that nature that I'm not overly intelligent about to speak to, but I know it's been discussed. So I would say about 2 weeks-ish.
2 weeks for you to get the information, and then how long until we actually physically get? Do you think? I don't want to say
I would say
again, but
2 to 3 weeks after that, 'cause we need to generate a base plan, analyze the data, and we have to provide a report.
so 5 weeks rough.
I would say 5 to 6 weeks total,
Okay.
soup to nuts.
Thanks.
Okay, governing, public, any questions for our engineer? Anybody on the conference line have any questions of our engineer? Hearing none, we're going to move on to correspondence. I just want to let everyone know so that our next meeting, September 7th, there'll be a flood insurance overview and promotion meeting that basically will feature a speaker to talk about the rates and the borough and what you need to do as a taxpayer, property owner to reduce your rates. This is part of the public outreach program to help the borough get a better CRS rating. So if you're interested, it'll be here at the meeting and also shown live if you're not able to make it. So anybody that has
No
property-
charge.
No charge, free.
Right.
Got it.
They do ask that you bring your elevation certificate, your flood insurance declaration page, and 2 pictures of the exterior, and they will rate to make sure that you are being rated correctly.
Okay. Do we issue a press release on that yet?
It will be going out tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Brian. All right, it brings us to our first round of public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the room. 5-minute maximum presentation. Please be courteous, and we'll start with anybody here. Anybody in the room before we go to the conference line? Hearing none? Anybody on the conference line have any public comments?
Yes, I do.
Name and address?
Gail Kelly at 201 East Columbine Road. Just wanted to say a lot of good things going on, so it's really good to hear. First, we the residents of East Columbine and parts of Pacific truly appreciate and want to thank Mayor and Council for all the valuable time and effort that's being put into doing what is right. We understand that this is a very sensitive issue, and it is extremely difficult for the town to have to admit a mistake was clearly made due to not following our town ordinance on land use and what is allowed, especially on front lawns. A friendly reminder, you have the errors and omission liability insurance to assist that this is not going to be a costly expense to the town. It's important to learn from our mistakes as the town moves forward on any future land use. However, we are concerned about the 2 kilns that are housed in the garage. I did forward to the solicitor probably about a 45 to 75 page how kilns to be installed. I have yet to discover 2 kilns on a residential property, if that's even allowed. But there are no exhausts just by looking on the outside. There has to be 2 exhausts, 1 for each kiln. So we're not sure why this is not being addressed, but the kilns must be installed properly and follow the codes for safety and to avoid damage to our homes. We also are extremely disappointed to see that work continues to be done on the shed. This is really, they're painting, air conditioning, it's ridiculous. Clearly on the website, it says I moved. They used the address 213. Looking forward to seeing you there. I just went up today. It's still there. Studio visits are welcome. Well, studio visit, looks like this place is becoming a studio or a school. We have provided all the documents that prove the shed clearly is not following the town ordinance and want to know if a decision will be approaching soon so that we do the right thing. The business has been established by the homeowner himself and as well as the website. This should not be occurring because it's a residential zone. So there's a couple of issues that still have to be addressed. We do appreciate, we know this is a sensitive issue. It's not going to be handled overnight. We get it. But I guess we're just trying to figure out truly what is the time frame. Because this was brought to light publicly. I know it's been brought to light privately, but publicly on July 5th. So I don't know where you guys are and what you can actually say or not say really at this point, which we understand as well. But I did want to start off with thanking everybody because we know that you're listening. So. Is anybody
Yeah,
ready?
No, we're here.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we have been, obviously, you and I have had plenty of correspondence in the last 2 months. So everything is being forwarded over to our solicitor. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to update yet. It's still in the works. But we are working very hard to get this resolved. So to answer your question, everything that you send me or you may send to the other governing body members has been forwarded over to our solicitor. I wish I had an answer for you right now, Gail. I do, but unfortunately we don't.
Oh, I know, I get it. I honestly, I get it, and I'm just, obviously, you guys know we're not going away. We're very, we are upset. We're concerned also with these kilns. Having 2 kilns, I cannot even find anything with 2 kilns in a residential property. And if in 1 kiln, if I have learned so much about kilns. There is
So have I.
that have to be around the kiln, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you have all the information, let's put it that way.
Okay. Anybody else on the conference line have any other public comments?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, name and address, please.
My name is Lisa Haber. I live at 9207 Bayview Drive. Thank you to the commissioners for being there for your work. I want to second the remarks that were made about our beach patrol because they are the best beach patrol, and I say that from experience. Excuse me. My issue is the same issue that I brought to the commissioners in September 2021, and that is that the no smoking rules on the beach are not being enforced. I know that the borough put out a press release on May 13, 2021. Borough Wildwood Crest Board of Commissioners has passed ordinances that ban smoking on the beach and restrictions on recreational marijuana use. The state has passed laws against smoking on the beach. When I came last year, it was after a really very unpleasant incident where if somebody was smoking, I would just go up and very nicely, cordially, ask them if they could not smoke, and never had a problem until this one woman, and I wasn't even talking to her, cursed me out in front of her own family. It was really shocking. So I had to go to the beach patrol. I don't want to bother our lifeguards. They have a job. I had to go to the beach patrol. They had to call the truck. Truck came, and it was great. But I thought that was one and done, and that there are just people like that, and that's the way it goes, except I was shocked to find out, because I asked the commissioners last year, what are you going to do to help enforce the smoking rules? And I realize you can't go out and, hire people, but I was shocked to see this year that there are actually fewer signs informing people that there's not smoking on the beach. There's no sign on the lifeguard stand. There's no sign on the beach taxi. That cylinder that was in the back of the beach, that's not there. I really can't blame people if they don't know that there is no smoking on the beach. And smoking is really much more of a problem this year, I assume, because people actually do not know that there's no smoking. And a couple of weeks ago, we had another unpleasant incident where it was actually a man who was smoking about 10 or 20 feet from a Wildwood Crest police officer who was on a vehicle on the beach. And my husband said, could you please ask that man to stop smoking? And when the police officer did, the man actually yelled in front of the police officer, calling my husband an a-hole. And, I love the beach. I love Wildwood Crest. The beach is a great place. It's a family place. I don't want to have to tell people what to do. I don't want to stick stops on people. I just want to go there with my family and my friends to enjoy the beach. I want to know what the commissioners are going to do to enforce this law. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I shouldn't have to make a choice whether or not to just put up with people smoke or to do something about it, which can result in a really unpleasant experience. Most people we'll just put up with it because they don't want to have to confront people. So again, I don't want that to be my choice. I want to know if you're going to put the signs up that people can clearly see so that they can know there is no smoking on the beach.
Okay, so I think that the issue of smoking in the parks and on the beaches is not just, it's not a Wildwood Crest problem, right? I think with the number of people out there, it's very difficult, and I think you know that to enforce. Beach Patrol was there to keep an eye on the water, so it would really be, you know, anyone roving in the background, such as the police, and certainly you did the right thing by bringing it to the Beach Patrol, which they can call it into the police. So I think there were the signs. So I think last year we just installed the new beach signs at the entranceways to all of the to the beach on all the street ends, and I think that having all the signs all over the beach, it could be somewhat the sign pollution. But I certainly hear what you're saying is maybe there's some additional signage and additional promotional information that we need to get out. I don't have the answer yet. We generally, we have a new governing body here that are working through and seeing things firsthand. I don't have any reason to doubt that they wouldn't follow through on and hearing your concerns and just generally, the health concerns that you're raising. I think that, it's going to take, get through the season. We have, generally at the end of every season, just regroup and just start budgeting and making the plans for 2023 all the way up until the end of this year. So I know Commissioner Schiff is here. He's on top of the enforcement. I'm sure he'll be meeting with his department heads to make the appropriate follow-up, and if there's any signage that needs to be done, and then the other promotional items. I know that Public Works, there was some flags that were installed last year. I'm not sure what happened to those flags, but we should, if they're not up, we can certainly put those up in some of the areas as well. I know that the green team had made, made the request from the state, and they provided them to us. So, Steve, if you could look into those signs, I know they're down there somewhere. Those flags, the no smoking.
It lasted about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
the wind is ripping
the
them.
wind ripped them up. Okay.
Can I ask the captain to come up and address that one concern? Because I'm on the beach and I see what's happening down there, and I know we patrol.
So I will say, and I'm hearing that concern, and that's certainly not, doesn't make me happy that we had that kind of reaction to somebody being addressed about smoking on the beach. It is something that obviously, the police department is aware that sometimes people are not going to agree with the enforcement efforts that we take. But I do certainly encourage anybody that does see that, let the officers handle that so that you're not getting yourselves into confrontations. The officers are certainly trained to handle those kind of situations, to handle things that might escalate, and to calm those situations as well and move on there. So the fact that somebody got upset with that, the officers are trained to handle that, and I would expect them to address that accordingly. And I would just encourage anybody that does see violations, you can certainly flag down the Beach Patrol or one of the officers that are there. They are aware of the ordinances and what is expected down there in terms of how we enforce no smoking, and they will take appropriate action when they're advised of that, and then as they see violations, they've been addressed to make sure they're reaching out.
May I respond to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Actually, I appreciate what you're saying, but when that incident happened a couple weeks ago, and the man cursed my husband out, and I looked at the police officer to see what he was supposed to do about that, he actually said to me, when you see people smoking on the beach, you could just ask them not to. And I said, that's actually not my job. I'm not a police officer. You are. So I'm talking more about prevention than enforcement. I know enforcement's difficult. First of all, it's hard to know even smoking. I just didn't understand why almost all the signs were taken down. That seemed to be a deliberate decision, because the signs had been up on the Lakefront stand and on the beach taxi and other places for a few years. And now that those signs are down, it's like people smoke every day. And I don't see how people are supposed to know that there's no smoking. If the signs were there as they were before, there wouldn't be these confrontations.
I'm not,
And the beach patrol could do its job.
let me help you with one thing there. The poles that were put up 3 years ago, 4 years ago, said that that was a designated area to smoke. And people, we actually kind of trained people to go back to that area, back beach, where they were able to smoke. The following year, those poles were used again, and it said no smoking. It said no, it was a little hard to read, but it said no smoking on it. But the problem there was, people would walk over there because we trained them to go back there, and they were still smoking there. To address the signs on the back of the gators that we use for transport, we had a problem with vision because one was, they were hanging on the back of where when you turn the back up, it blocked you. And I asked for that to be taken down. More signage, I'm not sure that's going to help. I think more of the way we communicate to the public through our websites, through however else we do it, I think that would be helpful. I have not seen as much smoking this year, and I'm on that beach, than the years prior. Unfortunately, you had 2 bad experiences, and I think what you need to do is to do what you've done before, just call the beach patrol and a police officer will come out. I don't think that you should do that yourself. We'll take care of it.
I have something to add. This is Gail Kelly again at Super Sunday Televised. I think I've run into the problem also and had to have called, I mean, people are vaping and smoking and it's incredible. Like, you want to go to the beach to breathe in fresh air. I think I'm thinking of a good solution possibly, because, you know, you don't want the signs all over the beach, like sticks or whatever, that's ridiculous. But perhaps you can put signs on the back of the lifeguard stand so that it's out of the way, and all you have to do is point to the back of the lifeguard stand to a person. I've had to approach people and say, hey, excuse me, you know, there is no smoking. Actually, I've even gotten to the point where I took a picture of the front sign at the beginning of the beach so I could physically show them that there's no smoking. But, you know, as, you know, we really don't want to have to do that. I understand what the lady thing. But, and if the signs on the back of the lifeguard stands, if you think that's costly, look into the school systems. Like, there's, you know, they have the metal shop and the thing. They would be more than happy to make those things if you talk to them, and they would do it for free.
All right, so we actually did have signs on the back of the stands. Now you have to remember that there are between 150, maybe 200,000 people on the beach through the summers, and that number grows, and it's called vandalism. They take them down, they destroy them, they don't stand up there long. So all those are great ideas, and I appreciate the ideas, but they've been vandalized. So we'll do the best we possibly can. I think the media is the best way to go at this point.
This is Ms. Haver again. I hear you saying we passed the law, but there's really nothing that we can do to enforce it.
I didn't say that.
You don't want to put.
I did not say that.
I mean, you're not putting the signs back, and you're saying, we'll put it on the website. People don't visit your website when you come to the beach. That's not, people come to the beach. So you're saying you're not gonna put their signs back.
Once again, I didn't say that. I'm just exploring the possibilities of things that we've done before and the past. And in the past, it didn't work. So maybe there's better ideas. If you'd like to contact me, please contact my office, and I'll be more than happy to discuss this with you and also with the police department. Okay?
Could you tell me your name and phone number, because I'm remote and the sound quality.
You can find me online. I'm Joseph Schiff. I'm Commissioner of Public Safety, and you can see my numbers and everything there.
Okay. Yes, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments on the conference line? Hearing none, we're going to move right into discussion items. Under new business, we just have a couple updates. Just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on, we already have the funding in place for 2022. Preston Park, I know we have some work to do with that between engineering and final numbers. Pool mechanicals, my understanding is we're waiting on the Concord Engineering to finish up the bid specification and/or the review of the current proposal that we have. That work is probably going to be scheduled to take place there. When I say the pool mechanicals, that's the HVAC and the humidification systems at the pool. That is, the budgeting has already been put into place. That contract will probably be awarded, I'm going to assume sometime in October. Phase 2 beach bump outs we talked about under Connie's administrator's report. Waiting on some issues with Wildwood Water Utility to get resolved. The tennis pickleball court area, so at Wisteria Road across from the Crest Arts Pavilion, there's a bocce court that we had planned for that bocce court to be removed. It doesn't get much use, and we're going to replace that with some shade structures. If anyone's been past those courts, they get a tremendous amount of use, and there's really no shade areas for anyone using those courts. So we're going to remove the bocce courts and install some concrete and some shelters. Again, the funding is already in place for that. The fishing pier repairs, the structural report, that was done, just bring everybody up to speed, that was done before the start of the busy part of the season. Waters Marine was the vendor for that. Digital signs, KC Signs through the co-op, state co-op, we were able to move forward with that. Their signs are actually being designed. Engineering drawings will be issued to the construction department. Once the construction department approves everything here in the borough, then we're going to turn it over to Public Works, and then they will follow through with the actual installation of those digital signs. And we had that presentation a couple months ago. And lastly, the Little League fields, that project will start sometime in September. Just so everyone knows, some of the fencing that's around the field is going to be replaced. It's old. We're going to replace that. We may very well do that work in-house. And the lighting, if you see the night lights, Musco Lighting will be providing the lights, and then we need to find the labor to do that. And that's scheduled for September. Those lights that are there have been there since early 90s, I'll say. So it's time to replace those and get the modernized version of those. So that's the updates. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed. Again, these, I can't reiterate enough, the funding is already in place. And I believe at the next meeting in September, we're going to talk about some other things so Francine can start and Mark can start getting engaged on 2023. I know it sounds like we have some time, but we really don't. It's time to start looking towards 2023. All right, under old business, I don't have anything to report there. I just want to just bump down real quick to the last two, the Beach Patrol building and the CAFR permit. So I know we're waiting on the JD permit on the Beach Patrol building, but we still have that pending CAFR permit looming out there that needs to be filed. So I guess we need to start figuring out at what point can we send that permit up to, so we can get, because one of the biggest things on there is the beach maintenance aspect of it. So,
The looping is
and
the
the-
issue, the water looping.
okay.
So that's what's holding it up.
All right, so we just
We
need
have that
to,
meeting with Wildwood Water.
I guess at some point, we're gonna have to, we need to move forward and,
Yes.
and then maybe we do a
Understood.
separate permit for the beach patrol building, if that's ultimately decided by the state. We don't know right now. Okay. All right, that's all I have under old business. We'll go back to public comments. We'll start with anybody here in the room. None? Anybody on the conference line have any final public comments before we go into commissioners' comments and then into a closed session? Hearing none, I'm going to ask the commissioners to make their comments, starting with Commissioner Schiff.
Basically, I just wanted to say that summer's going really well, I think, that all of us are clicking well together, our departments, and that the good behavior citations was a great idea. I got a lot of positive feedback about that, and I'm also getting very positive feedback for the enforcement on the bike path with the motorized vehicles. So all those things are things that are pluses for us. Thanks for your work.
Okay.
Mine's more of a statement, kind of address the elephant in the room a little bit. When I was elected to this position, I knew it involved working with the public to address their concerns and make the town a better place Recently, as some of you are aware, I've been working to address some issues that have arisen from projects that deviate from our code. Although these approvals took place before I was in office, they're coming to light now. Rest assured that we are working hard to resolve these issues with our officials and find the best solution. Moving forward, we will be adhering to our code, and any requests for approvals that do not follow code will need to be submitted to our planning board. So that is my statement on what we're dealing with.
Okay, my statement is, in the interest of time, I have no statement. I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everyone that's on the conference line. I'm going to end the call. We'll take a 3-minute recess before we move into closed session.
Let me just
Go
read
ahead.
the resolution real fast. Authorizing executive closed session in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-12B, potential litigation. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Can I get a second?
Second. Yep.
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.